Ever wish you could pull up your Microsoft Access database on your phone without rebuilding your whole application? Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by Access Learning Zone. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Today we're going to learn how to use Microsoft Power Apps to build a simple mobile front end for your existing Microsoft Access database. Now, before anybody panics, no, we're not replacing Access. In fact, we're going to do the exact opposite. Access is still going to be your desktop front end. We're just moving the data into SQL Server so it can also be used by Power Apps, your website, and other applications. And when we're done, you'll have a working Power App on your phone while still using the same Access database you've already built on your Windows desktop. Now, before we get started, I know what some of you are thinking. Richard, aren't you supposed to be working on your SQL Server course or the next Access developer class? Well, yes, but today I had some work being done in my office, so I grabbed my laptop, I head out at the kitchen table, made some coffee, and I figured I'd finally spend some time playing with Microsoft Power Apps. I get emails all the time from people asking how can they take their Access database, move the data into SQL Server, and then have something simple they can use on their phone or in a web browser while they're on the road. So I figured this would be the perfect opportunity for me to put together a simple little Power Apps app to show you guys how to connect Access to SQL Server and then put that on your phone with a Power App. It's real easy. You can do it in an afternoon just like I did. Now, this isn't going to be an in-depth Power Apps course. It's just a first look from the perspective of an Access developer. But if you guys want to see more, let me know and I'll make more Power Apps videos. Now, before we talk about Power Apps, let's take a step back and look at the different ways you can connect to your Access database when you're away from your office. Now, if your goal is simply to use your existing Access database remotely, you don't necessarily need to convert anything or build a web application. One option is just to use Remote Desktop, like Chrome Remote Desktop, and that's actually what I do. When I'm on vacation or away from the office, I just leave my computer running. You can connect to it over the internet, and it's just like I'm sitting right at my desk. I can use Microsoft Access exactly the way I always do. Now, not everyone wants to leave their computer running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, especially when they're gone for a week. So that's where hosted solutions like Access Database Cloud come in. Instead of running Access on your machine in your office, your database and Microsoft Access simply run on a virtual Windows computer in the cloud on one of their computers. So you and your users simply connect to that remote machine, and again, you're using the same Access application you're already familiar with little to no changes, and it's a great option if you want to keep using Access without worrying about maintaining your own hardware and leaving your computer running all the time. Oh, and of course, I have to mention, don't use file sharing services, Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, unless it's just you. Don't use those for sharing your Access database. Big no-no. Watch this video for more. All right, so if you don't want to connect directly to your Access database remotely, the next option is to move your data into the cloud. There's lots of places you can put it, but these are the three that I recommend looking at. The first is SharePoint. Now, SharePoint works well for small teams, and I've got a whole seminar on using it. But personally, I find SharePoint a little limiting, and the only time I recommend SharePoint is if your organization is already heavily invested in the SharePoint ecosystem. I've got a whole seminar on connecting Access to SharePoint, so you can check this out for more information. Now, second is my preferred solution, which is SQL Server. I've got several courses on SQL Server because I believe it's the best long-term home for your Access data. Once your tables are in SQL Server, you can continue using Microsoft Access as your Windows front end, connect to your own websites and applications, use reporting tools, and as we're going to see today, build Power Apps that let you access your data from a phone or a tablet, and this gives you the most flexibility going forward. Now, the third option is Dataverse, Microsoft's cloud database that's designed specifically for the Power Platform. Now, if you're building a solution entirely around Power Apps, Dynamics 365, or the rest of Microsoft's Power Platform, then Dataverse is definitely worth considering. My preference, however, is still SQL Server because it's an industry standard relational database that works with just about everything. Once your data is in SQL Server, you can continue using Microsoft Access. You can build your own web applications. You can connect reporting tools, or you can use Power Apps like we're going to do today. SQL Server gives you the flexibility to choose the best front end for your application instead of committing to just one platform. Now, I may do a future video on Dataverse, but for today, we're going to use SQL Server because that's the approach I recommend for Access developers. And if you'd like to see some videos on Dataverse, post a comment down below, and maybe I'll make some. All right, so you got your data online. Now what? Now let's assume you've moved your data up to SQL Server, like I recommend. The next question is, how do you get that data onto your phone or your tablet when you're away from your PC? Well, as always, you've got a couple options. The first option is to build your own web application. That's what I do. I've been writing web applications since the 1990s using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and classic ASP, active server pages. It's certainly not the only way to do it, but it gives you complete control over the user interface and exactly how your application works. It's literally writing code, nitty-gritty, right? It's old school, but that's me. I'm old school. Now, if you're interested in that approach, I do have a complete course on using active server pages. And my colleague Alex has also put some ASP.NET lessons on the website as well, the newer version. But that's if you want to do hardcore programming. Now, the second option, which is the one that we're going to focus on today, is Microsoft Power Apps. Think of Power Apps like a graphic application designer that's somewhat similar to the form builder in Access. You drag and drop controls onto a form, connect them to your SQL Server tables, and with surprisingly little code, you can build a simple little web and mobile application. It's a different way of thinking than Access development, but for straightforward business applications, it's a solid option. And like I said, you could put something simple together in an afternoon. And finally, there are a bunch of third-party low-code application builders that can connect directly to SQL Server and build you a web interface. Lots of products, Retool, AppSmith, ToolJet, there's lots of them. They all have their fans. And I haven't spent enough time with all of them to recommend one over the other, but they're worth knowing about if you're evaluating other options. If you've got a favorite, post a comment down below. Let me know what you're using. For today, though, we're going to stick with Power Apps because it is Microsoft's solution. It integrates very well with SQL Server, and it is the one that I get asked about most often. Now, I do want to point out one important limitation. Power Apps is designed for internal business applications, not public websites. Each person who uses your app will need a proper Microsoft account, permission to access the app, and the appropriate Power Apps license if you're using premium features like the SQL Server connector that we'll talk about later. If your goal is to build a public-facing website where anyone can browse your data without signing on, Power Apps is probably not the right tool. But if you're building an internal application for employees or other authorized users, it's an excellent option that's well integrated with the Microsoft ecosystem. So if you want something where you, maybe your sales reps, your secretary, whatever, can get access to, your contact data, order information, whatever, when they're on the road, employees, that's what Power Apps is good for. So for today's lesson, here's the game plan. We're going to assume you've already moved your data from Microsoft Access into SQL Server. I'll talk more about this in a few minutes. We're going to use a simple customer table, and then we're going to use Microsoft Power Apps to build a lightweight mobile application that lets us view and edit the data from a phone or tablet. But I want to emphasize one very important point before we continue. Power Apps, again, is not replacing Microsoft Access. Once your data is in SQL Server, your Windows users can continue to use Access just the way they always have. Access, of course, in my opinion, is still the best desktop front end for Windows applications, period. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. What SQL Server gives you is flexibility. Your Access users continue working in Access. Your mobile users can use Power Apps. You can connect reporting tools, Excel, or just about anything else that speaks to SQL Server. And that's the real goal here. One database, multiple front ends, with each user working in the application that's best suited for the job. And then later on, if you want a public-facing website for customers or clients, you can build your own web application like I do using ASP, or just about any other web development platform that can connect to SQL Server. The important thing isn't the front end, it's having all of your data in one central, reliable database. So SQL Server becomes the backbone of your entire application, and from there you can build whatever front end best fits your user's needs. All right, now before we go any further, I'm going to assume you've already completed one very important step, getting your access tables into SQL Server. And if you haven't done that yet, don't worry, I've got you covered. In my Access SQL Server online seminar, the first 3 lessons explain how to do that, and they're completely free. They'll walk you through the entire process from start to finish. All right, in these lessons, we'll create an account with my preferred hosting provider, WinHost, where you can get SQL Server hosting for like $5 a month. It's not expensive. I'll show you how to create your database, find all of the connection information that you need, your server name, database name, username, and password, and then migrate your access tables up to SQL Server. Oops, someone's beaming in. And then finally, we'll relink those tables back to your access database so your existing forms, reports, and queries continue working just as they always have, but now your data is in the cloud. And that's going to be the foundation for everything we're doing today. Once your data is in SQL Server, you're ready to build all kinds of different front ends, including the Power Apps application that we're about to create. So if you haven't watched those lessons yet and you haven't migrated your data up to SQL Server, what are you still doing here? Go watch them. Go on, they're free. Seriously, I'll wait. Well, not really. I'm going to keep going, but go get out of here and then come back to this later after you got it all set up. All right, so if you followed all the instructions in those other videos, you've got your SQL Server all set up. You've got your server address, your database name, your username, and your password to connect to it. No, you're not getting my password. You should know how to connect to it using SSMS and then make a simple query. And like I'm going to select all from customer T and then execute it. And there's my record. So I'm connected. So I'm good. So my connection information is solid. All right. So the next thing to do is we're going to head over to Microsoft's website, go to powerapps.com, or it's make.powerapps.com. Get rid of all that extra stuff on the end there. And you'll need a Microsoft login, which if you don't have one, set one up now. And then it'll eventually bring you to this page. And there's all kinds of different startup options and things you can do. We're just going to keep it simple and streamlined today. So let's come over here and click on Create. And then there's all kinds of different options in here, split screens, headers, and you can start from data and work backwards. But we're just going to go with the first one, Create from Blank. This is a Canvas app. You can think of a Canvas app like a blank access form, right? You start with the empty page and then you decide where everything goes. Your text boxes, buttons, labels, all that stuff. You drag them around just like you're designing an access form. If you're an access developer, this will feel the most familiar. If you guys have watched any of my access videos, you know how I feel about having access just automatically build stuff for me, like with the automatic layouts and stuff. No, I prefer going into design view and just putting stuff where I want it. So that's why I like building stuff by hand. I like the Canvas app. All right, so let's start from blank. Click on app. Now, there's responsive, tablet size, and phone size. Now, responsive is the one where it kind of fits to the platform. You could have it on desktop, on tablet, on phone. For today's video, I'm going to pick phone size instead of responsive. All right, responsive apps are designed to automatically adapt to the screen size, and that's a powerful feature, but it also introduces layout containers and other concepts that are a little more advanced than I'm going to cover in this intro lesson. By choosing the phone-sized canvas, we can design for a single screen size, much like designing a form in Microsoft Access. The app will still run on larger devices like tablets and desktop browsers. It just won't automatically expand to fill that extra space. But once you're comfortable with the basics of Power Apps, if you guys want to see more videos, we'll come back and explore the responsive layout. But for today, let's just pick phone size, nice and easy. All right, getting things ready. It's doing some stuff. It's crunching. And here we go. As soon as it's done doing its churning and bubbling, we've got our little phone screen kind of thing here, right? We got some properties over here. We got some navigation over here. Very Access-like and kind of somewhat, right? You might also see some wizards pop up. I already turned them off. So if you get the little pop-up that says, hey, we can do this and show you that, just cancel it for now. I'm going to show you what you need. Now, the next thing we're going to do, and I'm going to actually resize this just a little bit because we don't need to see all my buttons up top here in my browser. That's a little better, right? The next thing we're going to do is connect our data source, right? Our SQL Server. So I'm going to come over here and click on Data. And it says there's no data in your app. All right, well, let's add some data. All right, select the data source. Now, we haven't put any data sources in our Power Apps project at all. So right here, go to search and type in SQL. And we're looking for this guy right here, SQL Server. Click on that. Now you get a sidebar over here saying this is premium. What does that mean? It means that Microsoft considers SQL Server a premium connector, so you'll need to have the appropriate Power Apps license to build and run apps that connect directly to SQL Server. Now, the licensing changes from time to time. As of right now, it's July of 2026. The cost is about $20 a month. So if you're building, line of business applications for your employees on top of SQL Server, it's definitely worth the money if it's something you're going to be using a lot, but just keep that into mind. Now, if you're just kicking the tires and want to learn Power Apps, Microsoft offers a free Power Apps developer plan, which lets you experiment with it, but you can't actually deploy it. And there's also a free 30-day trial, which is what I'm using right now. And the nice thing about the free trial is they don't bug you for a credit card until your free 30 days are up. So that's pretty cool too. It gives you a chance to play with it, get everything set up, see if you like it, and then you can decide if you want to keep paying for it. All right, so let's connect to our SQL Server. I'm going to drop this down and pick SQL Server Authentication. We're going to connect directly, cloud services, right? Now, here's where we need the stuff that we got from WinHost or whoever your provider is. There's your server name is that, SQL Server name. Okay. Here's my database name. All right. Here's my username. And then I'll go grab my password from my other screen. And once you got all that in there, hit connect. And it'll say it's a premium feature, right? Requires users to have a premium license. Okay, fine. Don't show this again. Got it. Your browser comes up asking if you want to save that password. No, thanks. Okay. And after some churning and bubbling, you're going to get this. It's going to say, oh, what tables do you want in this app? Well, for today, I just want one table, my customer table. But notice, in your available options here under tables, you'll see T's and Q's, right? If you've taken my Access classes, you know that I end all of my table names in T and my queries in Q. When I created the SQL Server database, I created some views on the server. And yeah, I know view ends in V, but I still use Q because old habits die hard. So here you can see the difference between your tables and your views. So I'm going to find my customer table. And that's the only one that I want for today. So I'm going to hit connect. And then you'll see the data source customer T was added to your app. So now we're good to go. So now we got our app all set up. We've got our data source in here. Now we're all set and ready to start adding fields into our, let's call it form, right? And we'll do that in tomorrow's lesson. So tune in tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Or if you remember, you can watch it right now because I'm going to keep recording and I'm going to finish this tonight. But there you go. Now you know why we're using SQL Server and Power Apps. You've got your SQL Server online. You got at least one table up there, and now we got that table connected to our Power App. And we're going to finish all this up in tomorrow's video. But that's going to be your Tech Help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow for part 2. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button right now and give me a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel, which is completely free, and make sure you click that bell icon and select all to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. If you're new to Microsoft Access, check out my Access Beginner Level 1 course. It's over 4 hours long and it covers all the basics like tables, queries, forms, and reports. It's a great place to start, and it's also completely free. Members of my channel get extended cut videos, sample databases, access to my code vault, and full training classes every month. Click the join button for details. Thanks for watching. I'm Richard Rost with AccessLearningZone.com. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time.